Hey everybody, I wanted to get on here to do a little bit of a different video. So it is the time for people graduating nursing school, people getting into nursing school, and that big word NCLEX. Yeah, yes, I know. So I just want to give some advice to some of you guys who haven't taken your NCLEX yet, or those who, are planning on taking the NCLEX eventually. Because today I just got my news that I passed the NCLEX. Thank the Lord. So I just want to pass down some tips and advice and some study tips that I use that may help you guys pass your NCLEX the first time like I did. And 75 questions too, because that is the goal with NCLEX, is to get that minimum number of 75 questions and not have to take the whole 265 question test. So hopefully this will help you guys like it helped me. With my nursing program, we had Kaplan as it was included with our program. So they had a Kaplan week course the week after we graduated, so I attended that. It wasn't required, but I did attend the whole course, and I did feel like that course it kind of helped with my nerves. Like, I felt like it made me feel more confident to take the test, and it didn't seem so scary after that course. And so I really highly suggest attending the whole course. And you basically just practice a bunch of questions, and it's just one lady that, or well, man, I don't know, but there's one person that is pretty much like the instructor, I guess, and she just gives you tips on how to answer the questions, and they go over the delegation tree, how to approach every question that you get to in a different way. And I really wish that we had that class before nursing school, because I feel like it would have helped. But they made a good point that the NCLEX is different from the nursing school test, because nursing school is mostly content based and the NCLEX is a safety test. So it's just basic nursing, like it's just testing your basic nursing skills basically, or your nursing knowledge. It's not big on content. So I really highly suggest that class. And then after Kaplan, they told us to go ahead and do all the trainers. So there is 7 question trainers, and they're different numbers. Like, I know question trainer 7 was 265 questions. So it kind of prepares you, like, in case you have to take all the questions on the test, that you know that you can do it, basically. And then you also have some sample questions that are like a mix of NCLEX questions. There's one test that is all who do you see first questions, which I did the best on that. And then there's one just select all applies, which I didn't do good on that one, but definitely do that one, because NCLEX had a ton of select all applies. And I actually heard that if you get a bunch of select all applies on your NCLEX, then you're doing good. So no matter how much I hate select all apply questions, I was glad to see those on my test because that made me feel like I was doing good. Like, every other question basically was a select all apply. And so I was even taking doing little tallies of how many I had, and I think I had a little bit over 15. I know I counted up to 15, but I don't know if I kept counting after that because I was getting more nervous, I guess, as the test went. And then I did have some questions where, like, you have to put in order a question. Like, there's some heart strip questions, so you just get a variety of questions. And then I also heard that the prioritization questions are some of the hardest ones on the NCLEX too, and I did get a lot of those. So make sure you're studying those. You're doing a lot of study for that kind of questions. And then the Q bank for Kaplan. So the instructor for Kaplan, the Kaplan course, and she told us that is recommended to do 90% of the Q bank. So the Q bank has 2,100 questions, I think, in it, and I only had, I want to say, 3 weeks to study for mine, because we graduated in May and I just took mine in June. We graduated May 9th, So I had a month until my NCLEX basically, but I didn't study until after the NCLEX course. So I basically had like, I think 3 weeks to study. And so I was doing questions pretty much every day. There are a few days that I just took a break from doing any kind of studying, which I actually wish that I would have done at least 75 questions every day. But make sure you remediate on every single question you do. No matter if you got it right or wrong, remediate every single question. I actually spent more time remediating than taking the test, like the practice test, because I wanted to make sure I knew it and that it was drilled in my head. I wrote every single thing down in a notebook. Even if I got the thing right, the question right, but I didn't really understand the question, I wrote it down. So I have this 5-star notebook that I used just for Kaplan. So I took some notes from the course and then from like remediating. And then we also had videos. They have videos on Kaplan that I watched some of those. Some of them are live, which I did watch a few live videos. So I do recommend watching some of the videos. If you don't understand the content, like there's a labor and delivery video that really helped me because labor and delivery is not my strong point. So that really helped me watch the video. They have a video for like every single thing you can think of. So that was really helpful. So yeah, I wrote down a ton of notes and my plan was to go back through and highlight everything, reread everything. No, that didn't happen. I only got to like a few pages the day before my NCLEX because I felt like it was more important for me to do more practice questions than going back and reading all this stuff. So yeah, I do wish that I would have had more time to study, but I'm glad I got it over with when I did, because the stress was building up as the day was coming. And as I was seeing more people in my class pass, and I guess it just made me more nervous because last year our nursing program had a 100% pass rate. Everybody passed the first time, so we kind of had a little bit of pressure on our class to keep that streak. So I just was feeling the pressure, I guess. And so the day before my test, my stomach was in knots, and they say not to study the day before. Yeah, I couldn't not study. So I did study, but the only thing I did was just like go back through my notes. I have a study guide that I kept going back through and reading these study guides that I found, and I like to highlight, color coordinate stuff. So I had some study guides that I found online, common drug and antidotes. Yeah, there's just a ton of notes. Here's the Kaplan decision tree that I was talking about, so I was making sure I understood that. But yeah, I didn't do any practice questions the day before my test. Kaplan does have a readiness exam, which they suggest you take the readiness exam 2 weeks before the exam. I took mine on Saturday, and I had my test on Monday. I wanted to do it a little bit closer to the date, I guess. I probably should have done it a little bit earlier just in case I would have gotten a bad grade and I could reschedule my exam. But I ended up getting a 65% on the readiness exam, which sounds bad, but it's actually, it determined what my percentage would be to pass. So I had a 97.4 percentage of passing the NCLEX according to that that score for the readiness exam. So that made me feel a million times better. Like I'm glad I did that so close to my exam because it really made me feel better. If I wouldn't have got a good grade, then yeah, I would have felt really bad, and then it was too late to reschedule my exam by then because you have to reschedule it within 2 business days. So it was on the weekend when I took the readiness exam. So yeah, I would suggest at least doing it like maybe a week earlier, but it made me feel really good that I had high chances of passing, and obviously it was accurate because I passed. But yeah, the day before they say relax. I know one of my friends, she got a massage the day before and she didn't even study at all and she passed. So I mean, it's just up to you. I know I have really bad test anxiety, so I felt like more nervous if I didn't study the day before, And I did study the morning of too. I looked over my study guides. I brought this folder with me, and I was looking over this stuff even while I was waiting to take my test. So, that's just who I am. I like having the information more fresh in my brain. And so that's just how I am. But yeah, so I tried to stay organized. I had this whole notebook. I think this, yeah, 3-subject notebook that I used to remediate. I even had some things on Pinterest that I found, and I just took notes in here from some, like, you know, key points or mnemonics that I found that would help. And it really helps me to write things down, and so it like registers a little bit better with my brain. And then I kept everything like purple. Like I said, I color coordinate everything. So here's like a folder where I kept some study guides. And then I had a binder, which I had all these plans on like having this all organized by like different subjects. No, more study guides. Some pictures, mnemonics that I found. It's not organized at all. But I didn't really get to use this much because it was just so much information. And then our school gave us this book. It's the NCLEX RN Drug Guide. I was planning on reading this like front to back. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't even cracked this open. Never used it. But I don't do what I did. I would suggest at least going through it and highlighting some stuff, making notes, or going over the meds that you don't know, because there are going to be meds on your test. And so I wish that I would have gone through this, but I still passed and I didn't. So like I had all these resources that I wanted to use that I didn't have time. The NCLEX comes like before you know it. And I was studying like I said, I was studying like almost every single day, but it just took so much time to remediate for all these trainers and all the Q banks. I only did, like I said, they told us to do 90% of the Q bank. I only had time to do 675 questions out of 2,100. I felt terrible because I didn't do as many as I wanted to. I wanted to do all the questions, all the Q banks. But I didn't. So I highly suggest that you do all the Q bank questions if you have the time. Do questions every single day. I did at least 75 questions almost every day, but I mean, I would suggest doing more than that. I had like all these plans on waking up super early in the morning and then studying all day, but I felt like I needed sleep. Like nursing school drained so much energy out of me that I was just like hibernating after I graduated. So I was catching up on my sleep. So, and I'm more of like a night owl anyway, so I like to stay up and study when it's quiet. So that's what I did. I was up until like 4 in the morning a lot of days and sleeping in the next day. So a lot of my plan did not go according to plan. So, but the goal is to make a plan. Before you start even studying for the NCLEX, make a plan. Try to stick with it if you can. Don't do like I did. But at least I did study. I did try. Another thing I used, which I got this on Saturday. So this is a game called RN Entertainment. It's the NCLEX examination review game. This was really fun because I was getting so like drained just from studying and looking at my computer and reading all the questions, doing all these practice questions, and it was just really boring, and I felt like I was just getting drained after 3 weeks of doing that. So my mom got me this game, and you do need more than one person to play it, unless you just want to go through and just read the questions on the flashcards. And it has 800 NCLEX examination style questions. And this is a second edition, by the way. I got it on Amazon for like 27 bucks. But it's definitely worth it because it made it more fun, and then you also are hearing the questions and then you're thinking through them, and it helps even whenever like my mom, I was asking her questions even though she didn't know the questions. She was doing pretty good at guessing them, but it really helped me, like reading the questions to her and then, you know, trying to get her to say the answer. and stuff like that. So I really highly suggest the game. I wish I would have gotten it earlier, but it helped me review like what I've been studying. And these questions are really hard. Like, I think the questions on this game are harder than, well, some of them are harder than the ones on the actual NCLEX. Same with Kaplan. I thought the Kaplan questions were more challenging for me. I might have just gotten lucky because there's a lot of people I've talked to that said that was like the hardest exam ever. For me, I thought that it was easier than I was expecting. I thought our nursing school exams were harder than the NCLEX, which I'm really glad that our nursing program prepared us in that way that I can feel like that. So they like always stressed NCLEX in our nursing program, and our tests were kind of formatted like the NCLEX, so, and they really prepared us for it. So yeah, definitely try the game if you want like a more fun way of studying. And it would be really good if you like got a study group with some of your classmates and y'all all played this game. Most of my like study group people, they've already taken their exam, so I played it with my mom, my dad, my fiance, and it was fun. Even though they had no idea what most of the questions were, or like how to pronounce some of the procedures and medicines and stuff. But yeah, it definitely helped, I feel like. So tried that. I did have some more resources that I never got to use. So in school we got this NCLEX RN content review guide. I had so many plans on reviewing like this whole entire book. Because basically everything you need to know for the NCLEX is in this book. I did use it during school, but I didn't use it for the NCLEX. I didn't even crack it open. So yeah. But definitely, like, if you were to get something wrong on the Kaplan questions, you can go back in here and read more about, like, say you got a question wrong about skin cancer. I just turned to that page. So now you can go back and read everything about skin cancer that you need to know. Like, it's just brief little bullets of everything you need to know for those subjects. So, I mean, it's like a dictionary. It's over 600 pages long. But it really helped during nursing school, and I think it would have really helped during for the NCLEX if I had more time to look over it, but I didn't. But I wish that I did. That's what I was planning on doing. And then we also got this in school, which is the Kaplan Basics book. I was planning on using this too. I did use it a few times in school. You can see, like, I highlighted some stuff during school and have some stuff tabbed. I didn't use it, didn't even crack it open for the NCLEX. I got the Med Success book. I got this for school, never used it. I planned on using it because I love the Davis book for OB, because our teacher, most of the questions, well, not most of them, but she did use some questions that were from Davis for school. So I definitely always looked over the Davis book before each test, and sometimes there would be questions from Davis on those tests. So I always use that one. Never use the MedSurg one, but that's another resource that you can use if you feel like you need more resources. But like I said, all I did was Kaplan, and then like 2 days worth of this game. That's all I did. And then I did, like I said, I found some study guides online. Oh, the NCLEX Mastery app. I found out about that, I think, the week before my NCLEX, so I didn't end up buying the premium because I felt like, I mean, I only had like a week. So whenever you do download the app the first time, you get, is it 30 minutes? I think it's 30 minutes of free premium access. So I went through that whole 30 minutes. I wrote notes. They have a bunch of mnemonics that you can use. They have a bunch of questions that you can use. So I would highly suggest using that app too, because if you're on the go, you can answer questions. I think it was like $40 to buy the premium, so that's not bad if you want to do that. But the questions I felt like were harder on there than the NCLEX as well. So it kind of helps you prepare for more challenging questions. I also have the NCLEX, like the Saunders book, and I thought I had it with me, but one of the nurses that I work with at the hospital, she gave it to me whenever she'd already passed NCLEX, and I had planned on using that one too. Never used it. I don't even know where it's at, honestly. It's in here somewhere. But yeah, so I had planned on doing that too, and so I had all these resources that I wanted to use that I never used. So, but there are a ton of resources out there. But like I said, I passed NCLEX first time, 75 questions. All I did, basically, the main studying I did was Kaplan. Like every single day I did something with Kaplan. So I highly suggest Kaplan. Their practice tests are formatted just like the NCLEX, which made it more comfortable while I was taking the NCLEX because it was familiar for me. Oh, and then you get a whiteboard, like a little, well, it's like a dry erase laminated paper, at least is what I got, and for the NCLEX. And so I went ahead and I had one of these already. And so every time I was doing a practice question, I used my whiteboard, and I wrote Alex Talley RN at the top to, like, that's my goal. I put, you know, my goal up here, my life verse, which I've been, it's been my verse throughout my whole nursing journey. And then I would write the topic out for each question, because you want to make sure you understand what the topic is asking, if it's asking you for something false or something true. Or if it's select all that apply, and then I would write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, and I'd cross out the questions, or I would write like a little note beside of it, like false or true, and then so you can narrow down, you know, to maybe 1 or 2 question or answer choices instead of like all 4, and it helped with select all that apply questions too. I didn't end up, so I did this for every question for Kaplan. I didn't end up doing like the writing down the numbers for the NCLEX, because I felt like my NCLEX was more straightforward. I did write down, like, if it was asking me something false, I would write down, okay, false. Like, I'm looking for something wrong, or I'm looking for something right, because I always get those mixed up. So, I did write down, like, little notes like that. So, the whiteboard definitely helped. And, let's see. What else? What else? I don't know. I think that's it. Definitely pray a lot. If you believe in God, pray a lot. That's probably what helped me the most. That helped me stay comfortable. Like, it calmed my nerves. After the test, I thought I was going to be freaking out because everybody talked about, like, you leave the test and you feel like you failed it and then somehow you pass it. I didn't feel like that at all. I felt like leaving that test, I was smiling. Like, I felt like I just rocked that test. And I did. I felt like I passed it when I left there. Even like halfway through the test, since, you know, for the NCLEX you have to be above the passing line. You have to basically get like a 50% on the test. Because you have to get, like, most of your questions have to be above the line. So I felt like halfway during the test, like, I felt like I'd gotten almost every question. Like, I knew what the questions were asking me. And I'm not trying to sound, like, conceited or anything like that, because I'm the type of person that's terrible at testing. Like, y'all don't even want to know what I made on the SAT and all that crap. I am a terrible tester. I have terrible test anxiety. I felt like I was going to throw up the day before the test and that morning. I felt terrible. Oh, another thing I highly suggest, peppermints. That's one thing that I learned in nursing school, is that peppermints help calm your digestive tract, and so it calms your stomach, because I know my stomach's always in knots before a test. So it helps with that. It's supposed to help, like, with your memory. So I highly suggest peppermints. I was popping peppermints all morning for my NCLEX, and then even while I was studying, they don't allow you to take candy into the NCLEX, but they did allow me to like, have one in my mouth while I went in there. But you can't, like, bring candy, like wrappers and stuff like that. So yes, definitely do peppermints if you are, like, have test anxiety like I do. I felt like that really helped calm my nerves and stuff. Oh, and then I also lathered myself in the Bath & Body Works stress relief lotion and hand sanitizer so that during the test, like, I could smell my hands, and it just kind of calmed me if I felt like I was getting anxious during a question or anything like that. And I had it like all over my chest. I had it everywhere so I could smell it. Sorry to whoever was sitting beside me if y'all were sensitive to smells, but I needed it. Because usually during tests in nursing school, I used to keep like a diffuser necklace, and I know that in the NCLEX they don't let you have any jewelry or anything like that, so I had to improvise. So that really helped. During my studies, I would use some essential oils with my diffuser to kind of calm me down. The morning of, I didn't drink any coffee. I could barely even eat. They say to eat a good breakfast before you go in there. I could barely eat. So I'm really glad I didn't get the whole 6 hours because I started to get hungry at 75 questions and thirsty. So yeah, I mean, if you can eat as much as you can. Don't make yourself sick though. Like, that's what I was scared I was gonna get sick. So I had a good energy protein bar before the test. I had an apple, which apples are supposed to give you energy. Yeah, I usually drink coffee every day, so I was nervous about not drinking coffee, but I did fine without it because coffee usually upsets my stomach. So my stomach was already crazy that morning, so I didn't want that. But yeah, just try to keep a positive outlook. I know that was my hardest part. My hardest part was trying to keep a positive outlook because there was so much pressure. I mean, I was scared I was gonna have to pay the money again if I didn't pass. I was just all like, what if I don't pass? I gotta do all this. I gotta tell everybody. I already accepted a position at the hospital in the OR, and I was like, what's gonna happen with that if I don't pass? So I felt like I was more negative, and everybody was trying to like keep me thinking positive stuff, and like it's really not the end of the world if you don't pass, because you can take it again. You can take it again until you pass. And so that's what I kept having to try. I kept trying to tell myself that. And I was like, even if I don't pass, I'll know the format next time. Like, I'll be more prepared for the test next time because I've already taken it. So I just kept trying to tell myself that. And the morning of, I was just, I was like, I'm gonna pass. Like, I'm not gonna allow myself not to pass. So I felt like I did really good the day of, and after I took the test, I felt really confident that I did good on the test. I even left, and my friend called me, and she's like, "How'd you feel?" Because she said that she felt like most people I've talked to said they felt like they failed it afterwards, but then they ended up passing. And I was like, I actually feel good, and I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, because I know sometimes you can fail at 75 questions if you just had like a bunch of easy questions, if you weren't above the line. So I was like, maybe I was below the line the whole time. Maybe that's why it was like so easy for me, or I felt so good about it. So later that day, I tried the pop-up trick, and I got the good pop-up, and I was like, well, it's not 100% accurate. So I was still nervous, but I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be. But the 48 hours of waiting for your results does suck. But mine ended up showing up finally around 3 o'clock today, because I took mine around 2 o'clock on Monday. So yeah, it takes about an extra hour. I guess it's like whenever you kind of ended your test, so 48 hours when you ended it, I guess, is whenever it shows up, it seems like. But yeah, that 48 hours, it sucks waiting for your result. I just wish there was some way you could just get it the day of. I don't understand why, since it's a computer test, but yeah, hopefully these tips help you guys. If you have any questions or anything, leave them down below. I want to help others, because I know I was searching all over YouTube, and I was watching everybody's videos to try to help me out, and hopefully this will help somebody else out. So if you have any questions, leave them down below, and thank you guys for watching, and you guys are gonna rock your NCLEX. Don't even worry about it. Alright, see ya. Bye.